The parking lot at Greenfield Grocery in Boise, Idaho, was bustling with activity on a typical Saturday afternoon. Shoppers moved quickly between parked cars, carts clattering against one another as they were pushed and pulled toward the entrance. The air buzzed with the hum of conversations, the distant sound of engines, and the faint rustle of bags being loaded into trunks. Amid the chaos, one figure stood out, not because of his age, but because of the quiet determination with which he worked. The man, older than most, pushed a shopping cart slowly and carefully back into the corral, his movements deliberate, almost graceful. His frame was lean but sturdy, his steps measured and steady, as though the task of cart management was second nature. He carried no urgency, no rush, just an unwavering commitment to doing what needed to be done. Elon Musk, visiting Boise for a private meeting, had parked his sleek electric vehicle on the far side of the lot. He stepped out into the bustling scene, intending to grab a quick snack from the store. Yet what immediately caught his eye wasn't the hustle of the store or the people rushing past him. It was the man in his late 80s or early 90s, meticulously arranging carts, wiping down the handles with a care few would give such a mundane task. There was something compelling about his presence, his quiet focus, the way he moved through his work with a calm, unwavering poise. Elon, typically accustomed to high-paced environments and grand ideas, found himself rooted to the spot, watching. His sharp gaze lingered longer than he intended, and a curious expression crossed his face. The man wasn't asking for attention. He wasn't waiting for praise. And yet Elon couldn't help but be drawn to his quiet strength. Other shoppers passed by without a second glance, absorbed in their own errands, their minds occupied with tasks far removed from this simple act of cart organization. But Elon stayed there, standing still, watching. Who is this man? Elon wondered silently, his mind racing with thoughts. There was a depth to him, something beneath the surface that Elon couldn't quite grasp yet, but was eager to understand. Finally, unable to resist the pull of curiosity, Elon stepped closer. The man was bending down to align a cart properly when Elon called out softly, "Excuse me, sir. Could I talk to you for a moment?" The man straightened, turning his pale blue eyes toward Elon. His glasses were thick, magnifying his gaze as if seeing the world through another layer of perception. His face, weathered by years of hard work, carried the marks of a life lived, yet his expression remained calm, composed. "What is it?" he asked cautiously, his voice steady but tinged with a touch of suspicion, as though he wasn't used to being approached like this by strangers. Elon offered a polite smile. "I couldn't help but notice you here, working. It's not every day you see someone your age doing this." Henry paused for a moment, as if weighing his words carefully. Then he gave a small shrug, his tone matter-of-fact. "Someone has to do it. Kids these days leave carts everywhere. It's like they can't figure it out." Elon chuckled softly, the irony not lost on him. "So you're keeping the parking lot organized," he said. "Part-time," Henry corrected him, adjusting his cap with a gentle tug. "Name's Henry, by the way. And yeah, part-time's all they'll let me do." "Why is that?" Elon asked, his curiosity now tinged with concern. Henry's simple answer surprised him. "Got bills to pay," Henry said, his voice laced with quiet resolve. "Never thought I'd still be working at my age, but life doesn't always go the way you plan." Elon's mind wandered to the hands Henry used to move the carts. Gnarled and worn from years of labor, veins standing out against his skin as if every task had left a permanent mark. "At 90 years old, working in a grocery store parking lot?" Elon said softly, unable to hide the empathy in his voice. "That seems unfair." Henry sighed, his eyes distant as he rubbed the back of his neck. "Lost my pension years ago when the factory shut down. They said it was outsourcing. One day I was fixing airplanes, the next they handed me a pink slip." His words carried the weight of loss, and for a moment he paused, letting the memory settle before continuing. "Social Security?" Elon prompted gently. "Barely keeps the lights on," Henry replied, his tone flat. "So, here I am." Elon nodded slowly, absorbing Henry's story, the injustice of it all sinking in. How could a man who had worked his entire life be reduced to pushing shopping carts to make ends meet? Yet Henry never complained outright. His resilience was quietly evident, his dignity intact despite the circumstances. "Do you have family?" Elon asked softly, sensing the depth of Henry's solitude. Henry exhaled, his shoulders relaxing just a bit. "Had a wife," he said, his voice softening. "Lost her 5 years ago. No kids. It's just me now." He paused for a moment, adjusting his cap once more. "But I'm not complaining. Keeps me moving, you know? Beats sitting at home feeling sorry for myself." Elon felt a surge of admiration for Henry's resilience. He didn't let bitterness seep in, even though life had dealt him a tough hand. Henry's simple outlook, accepting life's challenges with grace, was humbling. "So you stay busy because it gives you purpose," Elon stated. Henry nodded, his expression steady. "Purpose keeps the mind clear, keeps the loneliness at bay." For Elon, this wasn't just an interaction. It was a window into a life of grit and perseverance, a testament to the silent battles so many like Henry face daily. And in that moment, Elon knew he couldn't walk away without trying to make a difference. Elon stood there in the quiet moment that followed, thinking about Henry's life. The conversation had been brief, yet it resonated deeply. There was a sense of admiration and sorrow intertwined in his mind, a profound respect for someone who had carried on despite the hardships life had thrown at him, and an understanding of how fragile the safety nets of society could be. As much as Elon was drawn to Henry's story, his time was limited. He had commitments, meetings to attend, and people waiting. But before he walked away, a thought crossed his mind, one he couldn't ignore. "Henry," Elon said softly after a moment, "would you allow me to help you?" Henry blinked slowly, as though unsure if he had heard correctly. His weathered face betrayed a mixture of skepticism and surprise, the question catching him off guard. "What do you mean?" he asked cautiously. "I mean financially," Elon explained. "Would you let me assist you with something? Whether it's a monthly stipend, healthcare, or even finding a more secure position? I want to help ease things for you." Henry shook his head slowly, his expression guarded. "That's kind of you to offer, but I can't take charity," he said firmly. "I've been earning my keep my whole life, and I'll keep doing what I can." Elon's brows furrowed slightly. "It's not charity," he insisted. "It's support, an investment in someone who has given so much. Your story deserves more than a cart at a grocery store." Henry's gaze softened for a brief moment, but the hesitation didn't leave him. "I appreciate your thought," he said quietly, "but that's not the way I've lived." There was a pause, a heavy silence that hung between them. For a few seconds, Elon wondered if his offer had been too intrusive, if it had been misunderstood. Yet the truth was, he couldn't simply walk away without trying again. "At least let me help you with something small," Elon suggested. "A meal, a coffee, something to make your day easier. You've earned it." Henry's lips pressed into a thin line as he pondered this, his gaze falling to the ground briefly before looking back at Elon. "It's not about what I've earned," he said finally. "It's about what I still have left to give." There was something deeply humbling in those words. Elon realized how profoundly intertwined purpose and pride could be, how for some maintaining a sense of self-reliance could outweigh any form of assistance. Henry wasn't ready to accept help, no matter how generous the offer was. "All right," Elon said with a nod, sensing the finality in Henry's response. "But promise me this, if you ever change your mind, you'll let me know." Henry gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. "I'll think about it," he said simply. Elon reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. "Here's my number," he said, offering it to Henry. "If you need anything, anything at all, just call me." Henry took the card and examined it quietly. "All right," he murmured, slipping it into his pocket. "I'll keep it." Elon gave him a warm smile. "Thank you, Henry." For a moment, neither spoke. The bustle of the grocery store continued around them, the hum of conversations, the shuffle of carts, the laughter of children. Yet within this small, quiet moment, two lives had intersected. Two worlds had met, one built on resilience, the other offering resources and opportunity. As Elon began to walk away, his mind was heavy with thoughts. The encounter had been brief, but its impact lingered. There was something deeply poignant about Henry's existence, a testament to the enduring human spirit, the quiet strength of those who navigate life's challenges without asking for much in return. Back in his car, as he drove toward his next appointment, Elon couldn't shake the image of Henry from his mind. He kept recalling the way the older man moved through life with such ease, such grace, even as it threatened to pull him under. There was a quiet power in that, a power that spoke volumes in a world that often measured worth in more visible, immediate successes. Maybe, Elon thought, we all have something to learn from people like Henry. Days passed, but Henry's face remained vivid in Elon's memory. The encounter in the grocery store had been brief, yet its impact was profound. It was more than just a fleeting moment of kindness. It had stirred something deeper within him. Elon couldn't ignore the thought of Henry's quiet resilience, the way he carried himself with dignity despite the challenges he faced. There was a story there, one that deserved to be shared, not just for the sake of telling it, but for the lessons it carried. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Elon found himself in his home office, the dim light casting shadows across his desk. He sifted through his thoughts, trying to piece together how to approach the story. He wanted to respect Henry's privacy, yet at the same time, he knew the world needed to hear it. The world needed more of his wisdom, more of his strength. It was then that a familiar thought returned. Why not create a platform for voices like Henry's? A space where stories of resilience, struggle, and hope could be shared freely, where individuals who had faced adversity could connect and inspire one another. The idea was simple yet powerful: to launch a digital series called Echoes of Strength, focusing on everyday heroes who embody courage in the face of hardship. Each episode would delve into the lives of these remarkable individuals, capturing their journeys and illuminating the lessons they offer to those navigating their own paths. The next morning, Elon reached out to a few of his closest colleagues, sharing his vision for the project. Their initial responses were enthusiastic. The concept resonated deeply with them, and soon after, they were brainstorming how to bring Echoes of Strength to life. Together, they mapped out the structure, identified potential guests, and laid the groundwork for what would become a powerful series of stories. Meanwhile, Henry was still on his mind. Elon couldn't stop thinking about the older man's humility and the quiet strength he exhibited. He recalled the subtle moments, Henry's steady gaze, his measured words, and the way his hands seemed to tell stories of their own. There was wisdom in those hands, a depth that went beyond mere experience. It was a testament to the endurance of the human spirit. As weeks turned into months, Echoes of Strength began to take form. Each story unveiled a different layer of resilience, offering viewers insights into how life struggles can shape, but not break, the human soul. Through the episodes, Elon's goal was clear: to provide a space where these voices could be amplified, where their experiences could serve as guiding lights for others. One evening, as Elon reflected on the first few episodes that had been released, he thought back to his encounter with Henry. He realized that it wasn't just about sharing a story, it was about creating a movement, a community of understanding and empathy. Echoes of Strength wasn't just about documenting struggles. It was about empowering individuals to find their own strength through the narratives of others. In each story, Elon saw a piece of himself, a reminder that life's complexities are universal, and that even the most ordinary moments hold extraordinary potential for transformation. Henry's voice, like many others featured in the series, became a cornerstone of that realization. It was a voice that spoke not just of hardship, but of the choices we make in the face of it, the decisions that define us. Through Echoes of Strength, Elon hoped to build a legacy, a tribute to those who, like Henry, walk through life with quiet resolve and unwavering purpose. And as the series gained momentum, it became evident that the world was hungry for these stories, hungry for the kind of resilience that defies the odds, one episode at a time. The launch of Echoes of Strength was nothing short of groundbreaking. From the very first episode, people were captivated. Viewers resonated with the authenticity of the stories, the raw emotion, and the resilience that shone through each narrative. The series gained momentum rapidly, spreading like wildfire across social media platforms and online communities. Elon was overwhelmed by the response. Emails poured in from individuals who had watched the episodes, sharing their own stories of struggle and triumph. Families reached out, connecting over shared experiences, while younger generations learned from the lessons of the past. It was more than just storytelling. It was a catalyst for change. One of the most unexpected aspects of the series was how it prompted discussions around systemic issues. Viewers began asking tough questions about labor rights, elder care, and the treatment of those who had spent their lives working hard only to face financial insecurity in their later years. Echoes of Strength wasn't just entertainment, it was a call to action. Henry's story, in particular, resonated deeply with the audience. His quiet dignity, his relentless work ethic, and his unyielding belief in hope struck a chord with many. As the foundation named after him grew, so did the awareness of the challenges seniors faced across the country. The stories shared were not just inspiring, they were eye-opening for those who had never considered the struggles of the elderly workforce. Elon, too, saw the broader implications of the project. With each episode, he became more convinced of the need for tangible change. The concept of a digital series evolved into a broader vision, a movement for reform. Beyond the foundation and individual stories, there were conversations about introducing legislation that would better support older workers and retirees. In cities across America, communities began rallying together to support seniors in need. Nonprofits saw a surge in volunteers and donations, all inspired by the stories they watched. Schools incorporated lessons about empathy, resilience, and the importance of understanding the life experiences of those who came before them. Echoes of Strength was teaching a generation to look beyond surface-level judgments and see the humanity behind every struggle. Meanwhile, Henry's role in this movement remained pivotal. Though he continued to push carts at Greenfield Grocery, his influence was now felt far beyond the parking lot. His story became a symbol of hope, a reminder that one person's story could spark a ripple effect that reaches across communities and across generations. Elon's interactions with Henry had shifted something deep within him. The billionaire entrepreneur, often perceived as distant or driven by innovation alone, found himself more connected than ever to real human experiences. He saw how wealth and influence could be harnessed not just for technological advancements, but for creating a more compassionate society. Echoes of Strength had become a testament to that vision. One evening, as Henry attended a community event supported by the foundation, he stood in front of a room filled with hundreds of people. His speech, though simple, carried a powerful message. We don't do this alone. We rise together. The applause that followed wasn't just for him, but for everyone who had contributed to the cause, who had shared stories, who had helped bring dignity back to those who had long been overlooked. Elon watched from the back, proud but humbled. His journey with Henry had been transformative, not just for the stories told or the foundations built, but for the bond that had formed between them. Together, they had created something larger than themselves, a movement that would continue to grow, fueled by the resilience and spirit of countless individuals like Henry. As the evening came to a close, Henry approached Elon with a quiet smile. "Thank you," he said softly, his voice carrying the weight of gratitude and humility. Elon, in return, placed a hand on Henry's shoulder. "No, thank you," he replied, his voice steady with emotion. "This was your story, and now it's ours too." The foundation continued to thrive, driven by the spirit of collective effort and unwavering support. And in every new episode of Echoes of Strength, the message was clear. Resilience is not an individual trait, it's a collective experience that binds us all together. The final episode of Echoes of Strength was a tribute, a culmination of countless stories that had been shared, lives that had been touched, and dreams that had been reignited. As the closing credits rolled, viewers were left with a sense of both closure and an insatiable desire for more. This wasn't just the end of a series, it was the beginning of a new chapter. Elon sat quietly in his study, rewatching the final moments of the series. His mind raced with thoughts of the future. The foundation was thriving, but there were still many battles to be fought, many stories yet to be told. He felt a renewed sense of responsibility, a commitment to the legacy that had been built through Echoes of Strength. Henry's presence was ever present in his thoughts, Though the series had ended, Henry's impact had not. He continued to push carts at Greenfield Grocery, his days now filled with a quiet satisfaction. Every interaction he had with customers, every smile exchanged, was a testament to the journey they had embarked on together. For Henry, life had shifted in subtle but profound ways. He no longer saw himself as just another worker forgotten by society. He was part of something much greater, a movement of compassion and understanding. Elon, however, was grappling with how to ensure that this momentum didn't fade away. The foundation had grown exponentially, and with it, the challenges of managing it increased. Yet he welcomed the challenge. His conversations with policymakers had begun to take shape, focusing on creating sustainable change. They were no longer just discussions about reform, they were steps toward actual policy change, aimed at improving the quality of life for seniors and older workers nationwide. The final season had not only captured the attention of the public, but had also inspired a wave of creativity among filmmakers, writers, and activists. New projects were being conceived to continue the legacy of storytelling and advocacy. Echoes of Strength had created a ripple effect that spread across art, media, and social consciousness. It became a movement, one that transcended borders and ideologies. In a small town hall meeting held months after the final episode, Elon addressed a room filled with advocates, volunteers, and community leaders. His voice was calm, yet filled with determination. "This is just the beginning," he said. "The stories we've shared, the lives we've touched, are a testament to the power of empathy and resilience. But the work does not stop here. We must continue to amplify these voices to ensure that no story goes unheard." The audience responded with applause and renewed energy. Many had already begun planning local initiatives inspired by the series. From education programs in schools to support groups for aging workers, the movement was gaining traction in unexpected ways. Meanwhile, Henry, though still modest and quiet, became a respected figure in his community. He attended conferences and workshops, sharing his story and encouraging others to find their own voices. His wisdom and simple perspective were invaluable, reminding everyone that change doesn't have to be grand or overwhelming. It can begin with a single story, a single person willing to stand up and speak out. Elon knew that his involvement was far from over. The foundation had set a precedent, a standard for how stories could be used as tools for social change. The digital series had been the spark, but now it was a living, breathing entity that would evolve with the times. In the final moments of the town hall meeting, Elon reflected on how far they had come, from the initial idea to a movement of thousands. And yet his eyes glistened with the awareness that the journey was far from complete. With every new voice that joined the chorus, echoes of strength became stronger, louder, and more impactful. As the crowd dispersed, Elon walked out of the building, feeling a sense of accomplishment, but also a deeper understanding of his place in the world. His legacy was no longer defined by his wealth or status. It was defined by the impact he had made through stories, through empathy, and through a collective effort to uplift and inspire. And as he made his way home, he thought of Henry, his mentor, his partner in this journey, knowing that their paths had been forever intertwined, and that together they had created something timeless, a legacy that would be carried forward, resonating with future generations, one story at a time. Echoes of Strength was more than just a digital series. It became a movement that captured the hearts and minds of thousands. Through heartfelt stories of resilience, compassion, and unity, the series left a lasting impact on its viewers, encouraging them to reflect on their own journeys and the importance of community support. Elon's vision of amplifying voices, empowering individuals, and fostering empathy resonated deeply. From touching the lives of seniors like Henry to inspiring new projects and social initiatives, the journey was one of growth, change, and connection. The messages shared through the series reminded us that every story holds value, no matter how small. Through shared experiences, viewers were reminded that strength comes not from individualism, but from collective efforts to understand, support, and uplift one another. As we conclude Echoes of Strength, we invite you, our audience, to continue this journey with us. Share your thoughts and emotions in the comments below. How has the series impacted you? What stories resonate most with you? Your feedback fuels our mission to keep stories alive and continue driving positive change. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more heartfelt, meaningful content. Together, we can keep the spirit of empathy and resilience alive. Share this series with your friends and family to spread the message. And let's build a community that values every voice. Thank you for being a part of Echoes of Strength. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to embark on new stories with you.